The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Podcast. It is yet another edition of The Big Issue. And of course, we would like to apologize for this delay. It was due to unforeseen circumstances beyond our control. Well, without taking much of your time, with me here in the studio are in-house analyst, Tyler Sezehu, and Adebiyi Adedapo. I am your regular host. Jodagba is my name. And of course, the big issue of the day is the 42 billion naira National Assembly complex renovation contract and the issues arising from the project. The move to renovate the National Assembly complex with a whopping 42 billion naira has generated a lot of controversy among members of the National Assembly and stakeholders in the build sector. And of course, the bone of contention is that the project can be executed for 15 billion naira less after the original builders of the complex bidded 26.9 billion naira, but was overlooked in favor of a firm with no traceable address and with record of having handled such project. And of course, some lawmakers are expressing dissatisfaction over both the value of the contract and the capacity of the contracting firm, Messrs. Visible Construction Limited, to handle the work. Well, this was the main exclusive story in Leadership newspaper today. Of course, the conversant with the report today, B.
Yes, sir.
Now, what we have now is that the contractor handling the renovation has no record of previous jobs, and his official address is untraceable. That is questionable, isn't it?
Well, if it has been established to be so, then the FCT authority and the Bureau for Public Procurement should be answering some questions. Because the institutions are not just there for the fun of it or just to bear the name. They are there to checkmate the process. Unfortunately, when things happen like this, there will always be a focus on the National Assembly. Oh, the National Assembly people have come again. But let us remember that the building or the construction and maintenance of that structure, the National Assembly premises, is vested in the hands of the FCPA. So, if at all any lawmaker, either presiding officer or principal officer, or even just an ordinary member of the House or the Senate would have an input, it would at best be advisory. So when the backlashes come, it shouldn't go directly to whoever has advised or whoever has recommended. Let's assuming now, without considering, that somebody has recommended it. Some people are vested with the responsibility of certifying the competence of a corporate organization that is going to undertake any job with the federal government. So, if these offices or the persons in charge have refused to do what they ought to do for whatever reason, which I don't want to understand, then we cannot now start pointing fingers at somebody recommended or somebody did what or what somebody did not do. We should be asking questions. Would the BPP certify this company, Visible something?
Yes.
Did BPP certify the company to be fit and competent enough to undertake that kind of project, a very sensitive one at that? If yes, then how come we're hearing stories that the company has no known address and the company have not done it? Because I spoke with somebody who is very familiar with the process. And the person told me that no member of the National Assembly was part of the selection process. No member of the National Assembly was part of even the meetings at the BPP level, and that it was purely between the FCDA team and the BPP. So why are people? Why are people talking about the National Assembly? Is it because that place houses the National Assembly? If, for instance, a school owned by the FCDA is being renovated, and the FCDA and whoever is in charge of carrying out the due process has certified the company to do the job, maybe the principal said maybe that person, somebody else can do it. Would you now go back and meet the principal of that school? When purely the principal's job is administration of this institution, of the school, not award of contract, and not certifying whether somebody or whether a corporate organization is fit enough to do the job. So it's a very embarrassing situation, and I think by now PPP and FCDA should be answering questions.
Yes, because when this issue came up, we could remember the drama that ensued at the National Assembly, where we saw videos of cleaners packing water. And then what we got to hear is that the rooftop of the National Assembly was leaking. You remember some time ago that happened? And it was based on that at the end of the day, the National Assembly now had to approve a whopping 42 billion naira for the renovation of the National Assembly. But I think what the report we are getting now is telling us is that the original builders of that building had been 27 billion naira, but was overlooked at the National Assembly, who came up with the figure of 42 billion naira. And yet we have the reps denying here that there is no underhand dealing in the contract award. So if the original builders of the National Assembly complex would say, come, we can do this for 27 billion, and the National Assembly is taking the renovation of the complex at 42 billion, this calls for questions. Most Nigerians are saying that this is a reason why they had been saying from onset that even the video of the leakage of that National Assembly was masterminded. It was a script played out.
We have discussed that.
Drop out money.
We have discussed it here before. Let's not embarrass ourselves and just think that things will happen. I mean, I cannot imagine a situation whereby somebody will go to the National Assembly and say, I want to remove the roof. You see, whether we like it or not, the truth is that that place has not been well maintained. And that place needs to be renovated.
But there had been, this is not the first time money has been earmarked for renovation.
The question now, what we should be investigating now is that has there been cash backing for budgetary provisions to the renovation? I'm sorry, maintenance, we still maintenance of the National Assembly.
For me, I doubt
because I made inquiries and somebody had informed me that yes, money has been earmarked for routine maintenance of that place. But over the years, there's not been cash backing from the FCDA. I have not been able to put this out because I have not gotten the side of the FCDA, to corroborate that statement, that report story, or to remove. Do you understand? But clearly, whether monies have been allocated and has been disbursed or not, that place is not well maintained. That place needs to be renovated. And in fact, I think the major issue is that those who built it in the first place, it is the contract is in phases, and they had only concluded a part of it. They were not done before. I mean, maybe they terminated or they asked them to outsource or something. So it's a whole lot of complicated situation. And coming to the point that the original builders bidded and announced another builder. Are you aware that Julius Berger bid for over 100 billion? Over 100 billion. Do you understand? So let's not look at this thing through a political lens. Those who bidded 27 billion naira, have we asked question? Why did you decide not to? Remember, this thing is going to the Federal Executive Council. So it is not about the National Assembly. And I think I should quickly correct that. When you say the National Assembly did this, it is not about the National Assembly. In fact, the award of that contract does not lie in the hands of members of the National Assembly. So when you look at it critically, we should be asking questions. Those who bid at a very lower rate, why were they not awarded the contract? Maybe some persons felt they didn't do a good job. Maybe some persons felt okay, the job they have done that they did was good, but maybe the persons who were there at the time they awarded the contract have moved to another company, and what they have now is just the name. So it is not automatic that the company that bids the lowest, I mean that submitted the lowest rate of quotation should be awarded the contract. If that is the case, then we can also think ostentatiously that Julius Berger that have bidded for 120 billion naira will do the best job. But it's not always so. So let's not be quick to condemn. Rather, the major issues is this company, what is their track record? Can they do it? The issue of whether it is 42 billion naira or 40 something billion, that money is not even going to be disbursed once. And that renovation is in phases.
Well, thank you very much, B. Silas, you've listened to me and you see the point he has raised there. But let's look at this situation. First of all, there's a point he raised there I want us to look at. He said, first of all, we should look at whether previous contracts for the renovation of the National Assembly complex had a cash backing. Then the question I will ask is that for an institution like the National Assembly, which is the second arm of government, the legislature, money will be earmarked, made provisions will be made in the budget that this money is meant for the renovation, and then there will be no cash backing, and you'll be distinguished, and the honorable members at the National Assembly they will fold their hands without questioning why there's no cash backing. You see that? Is that possible? If it's for any other contract, one would have accepted, but I don't think those honorable members and the distinguished senators will sit down there and say,
are you trying to say that they are self-centered?
No, we're just trying to be realistic. He has raised that issue.
Yes,
and of course, at the end of the day, we must look at it from another angle. Let's be very sure.
We'll never know until we really dig in to find out exactly whether those monies were released or whether they were released not fully and so on, and even how much the release was used. Okay, those are also there because the thing with the contractors we have in Nigeria is that anything goes. Even though we have all those structures like PPP and the National Assembly that do oversight, that's what I say passes on the bridge. Okay, so since we don't have those statistics now, I don't think that every year that money from the maintenance will not be released. Even if you pass money or the other year, the other third year, you should have that money. Especially since they are playing oversight. They know how much is the plus. They know how much is cooking down the same, and they would, The only thing like this one came to the fore because the money is big. Initially they said that 8 or 7 billion and a chance screen, yes. Just to reveal how much will it cost to build a new one.
So, well, Silas, before we continue, let's quickly take a short break. We'll be back, and of course, we're expecting that our viewers out there will actually contribute to the conversation on the big issue by their way of comment, and maybe by the time we're back, we'll see them trickling in. We'll be back in a moment.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Welcome back. We are still on the Big Issue in Leadership podcast. And of course, the big issue of the day is the 42 billion Naira National Assembly complex renovation contract and the issues at stake. Well, Silas, we were talking about the possibility of the National Assembly members folding their arms when monetary provision has been made for the renovation of their own complex, and then now say there's no cash backing for such provision. Federal lawmakers will sit down there and fold their hands. I think that's where we are.
There's one angle I want to look at it, which is that that this attitude to public issues, the public building, even though they live in it, they work there. If there's no cash backing, they will not be up in arms the way it would be. I'm sorry to say, if it were their own personal developments, that it's not bad. That's why I found that every year you see that a lot of the budget for capital projects is there, but you see that the one for the current is overdrawn. And I asked, is it not the same money? The current that's supposed to use to service to work to execute the capital. How come that you did the capital and collected the money from overhead? The outside and all those things that go with it. So but that tends to how happen in the public service. So it's possible that at some point that if they see that there's not enough revenue that's coming, and they will have to prioritize projects. It's okay, but this one is not a priority per se for the nation. No. But I don't think that it will be something that is a year on year like that. Of course, they know how much is available, and they know that if they need to, they won't want to go to come crash it on them. And if they need to fix it, they know how to put their foot down and get their money out to fix it. And that's why I found that even though after all the drama about the kill and co, Nigeria is screaming, the thing has made it now going to effect for fake approval because they want it now. So if they wanted those ones in the past too, they also know how to get it out because they oversee the what course, national course, and they work with the executive. So, but I like I said, that in some cases they will look and say that these are not issues of priority attention for the nation at that time. It's okay, but it's not so bad. You can still manage it. Okay, but it's possible that that managing that now allow the thing to allocate to this point where they say a teach time
Saves money.
so it's possible that if they had used those money in those small quantity and done those things and stop them from escalating, possibly we will not be talking about 42 billion. That's a lot of money, too much.
Well, Silas, we look at that, but another issue here that I think be attempted to address that. I think we should still look at it again. That the contractor handling the renovation has no record of previous job, and his official address is untraceable.
Yeah, that's
I give that kind of contract to such a contractor when even the rebuilders of that National Assembly complex say, "Come, give us this, we'll do it for 27 billion."
okay.
These based on perhaps they couldn't give it to them because maybe they are just not giving by name.
No, you're just speculating, and the issue is that if that report is completely true, they don't have record of previous work. Then what did BPP do? All those agencies that do all those checks before contracts are awarded. Are you saying that they just see the danger of Nigeria is that there are a lot of influence peddling. When influence peddling is there, a lot of money is offered under the table. Some guys can close their eye and let something that should not pass. I'm not saying they did so. But if these people don't have a record of private work, construction work of this magnitude, then it will actually make the whole thing. The issue is controversial. It will be even extra controversial. There's a problem if for instance, is that the figures are bloated and the people can deliver. But it is much more unacceptable if this company cannot actually handle it. And what they find out is that they win the contract because one big man is behind them, push into the process, share, check off some of the money to those who should get it. And then they now hand it to some other, supply it to some other company that has
The capacity.
and they negotiate 50-50. The person that won the contract takes 50 and goes to one and flies abroad or can squander it. And then the other people will have 50% to do it. And when I time you found out that that's why I found out that possibly that's why I found out that the thing is bloated to the point it's bloated. I'm not forgetting that the player bid a lot more. Okay, they're not sense as well too. Okay, they play in the Nigerian system. They managed to play Nigerian system for so long and so successfully. You can't do it in Nigeria if you're sent.
Well, I think I'll find it very difficult to believe that that company has no traceable address or they have no record.
If it is so, then it's a ghost company.
Why I said so is because it is probably a criminal offense and people will go to jail for it, definitely. However, I mean, for those who have been familiar with how contracts are awarded in the civil service or by the federal government or government organizations, it is easier for individuals who have the influence to throw around to get a reputable company to do this job. And at the end of the day, you go back and shake hands with those who influenced the contract award.
Yes.
That is even easier, and it is a way of avoiding legal issues. But to say that contracts, federal government contracts, the renovation of the National Assembly was awarded or about to be awarded to a company without traceable address and no track record. I stand to be corrected, but I don't think it is that bad in this country. I know things are really bad, but I don't think it is that bad. I mean, what are the procurement officers?
Well,
Yeah, do you know that some people's job is to certify companies?
Wait, let me even go down into, because at the end of the day, this is just one hand of it. Perhaps that is why you are even saying this. There's another suspicious thing here. Yeah? Because the account of BPP is in direct conflict with the account given by the FCD. Look at what? While the FCD is saying no contract has been awarded, the BPP is saying that they follow due process in awarding the contract.
BPP does not award contracts. The FCDA does. So the BPP might have given them a clean, is it a clean slate or clean bill or what do we call it? And maybe the only thing remaining is that the FCDA should say this contract has been awarded. So if they have not issued an award letter and BPP have done their own job, of course BPP will say we have followed due process. And FCDA can say yes, we have not awarded because they have not issued the letter. So there is no controversy, there is no ambiguity in that at all. Rather, what I still stand to disbelieve here is that if I mean the easiest thing to do is to get an office address. Let's tell ourselves the truth. So you want to get that kind of job from the federal government and you don't have a traceable address? Is it possible?
It's possible. From the report,
I find
the
very
place they gave as a full address. So people tracked it down and found that they were not there. In fact,
something might have happened. Something might have happened, but let's tell ourselves the truth. What does it take to get an office?
What if it's just a portmanteau company?
No. The issue is that what we are addressing is that they have no traceable address. And I'm saying that it is not possible.
I'm telling
if you want to get something, you must invest. And part of the investment is that you must have an office.
Yes.
So it is impossible for
nothing impossible in Nigeria. The companies.
We're not talking about supply. We're not talking about supply in Oyo State where I come from. We're talking about innovation of National Assembly. It's not possible.
Well, for one
they didn't say they don't have an address, but the address they gave.
I should go address it.
They gave an address. When I went there, people went there, and not such problem exists there.
He's saying they should go address it. How can you trace what is not there?
He said, look, I'm living in number 15. I could go to my 15, and there's no record I am living there. And everyone will say nothing like you. Yeah.
Let me tell you this.
So what happened?
As an undergraduate, I was very familiar with people who are doing contracts. And I know that there are even smaller companies who do small supply of stationaries and all that. They have addresses, they have all the requirements. Not to talk of a company that wants to renovate the National Assembly.
Well, for want of time,
There's
for want of time, you
opportunity
see,
the opportunity for the
In the next few days,
Yeah,
we are going to
come
see more revelations.
Yes.
You are going to see the company come
that's
up
why
with their
the
own position
controversy.
and their side of this
for,
one.
for want
But
of
I
time.
stand to oppose
They should have even
that
come into
assertion
already said.
that a company that is going to renovate the National Assembly that has been there at all.
That's a
No
give. It's
fool.
not. They're not
No
there.
fool. Let's not talk as if these people are not human. No fool. We even recommend a company without traceable address or track record for that kind of job.
Well, for want of time, Silas, let's just look at they are developing, and of course, we will get to understand that. But now that the Federal Executive Council will be considering that particular contract, I think, for its final overture. What are you expecting from?
No, yeah, because of the controversy thrown up by this report, I think that they need to tarry a while to make sure that these lacunas are fixed.
And then should they choose to raise questions?
Of course, that's what they will repeat. And say, okay, please provide so and so information. Let's be sure that you're on short footing.
And then
If you find out that the company is valid and that the quotation they made is okay, you can go ahead with it.
And I think tomorrow's Federal Executive Council meeting should result that BPP will be invited.
Let's not forget.
The
let's
NASS,
not forget.
all the parties involved, the FCDA and the
The
rest.
truth is that some people bidded for this contract and lost. Those people are angry. Do you understand? Those people are angry, and they could. What I expect is that the company who has been recommended should come up to tell us that all these stories about them is false. That is what I expect.
Well, that's the much we can take for. That is
for
the much we can take for the big issue, the Silas. Naturally, I think now the ball is in the executive court. The Federal Executive Council meeting will be sitting tomorrow, and of course, how they handle this matter is what Nigerians are expecting to see. Because what is expected is that FEC would have to invite all parties involved, both the company, the FCDA, the BPP, perhaps to come and explain this controversy surrounding the contract for the renovation of the National Assembly. Well, as we await a decision of FEC tomorrow, that is the much we can take for today's big issue. Join us same time tomorrow for another edition of this program. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.